confused me a little bit when they told me.
Is he not coming?
He said he'd take us out to their show.
Yeah. I mean, he said maybe. Maybe.
That's that girl.
He said
I can tell how he worded it.
Yeah.
He didn't say my friend.
Reading between lines.
Oh yeah, I do. I know y'all language.
Because he don't want y'all to be all right.
You know the wrong person.
Actually, that actually is part of the conversation tonight. That's why he's not here. He don't want to say anything.
He like,
He don't want to say anything. It's crazy. Hit anybody. It's good show tonight. Oh man. Let's see. Let's get on.
it sounds good. Welcome to another episode of Above Average Black Men. Yours truly, Chris A. Pender Sr.
Chris Jr. here to empower, inspire, and uplift the community. Hopefully do some positive conversation and dialogue. My bro's not here today, so shout out to Dev, and I'm still in his lines today. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, interact with us, reach out to us, all those great things. I feel like during the show, we do have people that, tune in, drop comments, and we do like to shout y'all out, a lot of the times, and we're going to continue to try to do that and stay on top of that. But thank you all for tuning in. I think we got another good one here tonight.
Yeah,
there's always something happening in the world. So.
And those of you who are always questioning what's in my cup, I got orange soda, so you can see it's orange soda. Some couple get what's in that cup?
They think you up here trying to sponsor something.
No.
Sponsor something else.
Because of what I do, I talk a lot. So I get parched, man. I get thirsty. So I like pomegranate juice. So I drink pomegranate juice. But everybody's questioning my pomegranate. Well, Mackenzie and I like pomegranate juice. So
the bouginess kicks in from you.
So today I got orange soda, so everybody can see it clear. It's orange soda.
You're going back to your roots.
Oh yeah. Root beer would have been back to my roots, but it was dark, and then people would have thought it was something else in the cup. So I had to get something clear.
Can't win. You got to
answer clear, man. People think y'all laughing, he drinking out the cup all the time.
Man. But what do we have?
Great show tonight.
The agenda for tonight.
Two-part show. The first part of the show, we're going to talk about the negative impact when single moms make their sons their man. I'll make sure I put negative impact so people understood I wasn't talking about all single moms. And the second part of the show, if we get to it, we're going to talk about Dawn Staley because she turned down $10 million from Elon Musk. Elon Musk decided for somewhere that he liked her and he felt they were cut from the same cloth. I don't know how. He's born and raised in the projects. I don't think he has I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to see the connection there. But yeah.
But I like her response, and we'll get to it. She said she didn't take the money, and the way she politely responded was, I would rather he take that money and do something else that can really help people with it for a change. So I thought that was pretty cool response, man. We'll get to that. $10 million, that's the question. The question would be, and the question is a simple one, when does ethics and money collide? And when does each one win? When do they win? Well, the first one is funny because everybody knows who Jaden Daniels and Juju were sitting next to each other, just having a good time, man. Talking, having yucking it up, and everybody's filming it because you got a girl who's making money in college who's going to be pro. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, she's
probably the best female basketball player in college right now, like by far.
Well, they're saying the last 10 years because she's so much more athletic than the rest of them come before her.
Game.
And they're looking it up, and then they cut to a commercial. Then they come back, and you see where I thought it was her mom. Jaden's mom just popped in there, and it's funny because Now both of them not even looking at each other. They went from yucking it up to he's looking that way, she's looking, and mom is sitting there like Mama Bear. She's sitting there like, yo. So I thought it was hilarious. I didn't take it personal. I thought it was
Crazy
funny.
though, because like the interaction before, like when you're watching it just looks so wholesome. You kind of celebrating them both. You just like, man, like Jaden Daniels. It's funny from the outside, you know, as we'll say fans of these individuals. You'd be like, man, he seems like a good guy. She seems like a good girl, and it's just like, boom. They talking to each other, they vibing out at the game, like look like they having a good time, and it cuts back. And mom just
and they close in age, so it wasn't like some 40-year-old dude was talking some 20-year-old girl. Yeah,
and or like
broke.
Right. It wasn't like it was just some random girl that's like an influencer online or something like that. She has her own and is building her own, and it was just kind of funny to see them cut back to it, and she just sitting there. Nobody having fun.
Yeah,
everybody going.
They went from laughing and joking to he's looking this way and she's looking that way, and the look on their face was like, you know, nobody knew what to do, and I just thought that was
I felt bad for her, man. But it's funny because there was, I guess, like a snippet or a video previously with like his mom and just talking about how she's a protector of him, and like especially with young women and knowing who he is, the status that he has, like she is really protective of that. And like it's funny to see it play out. And like how she was saying it, I understand like looking out for your son, but how she was saying it was like overstepping.
I didn't hear that. So what did she say?
It was like overstepping some lines. It was just like, okay, like I understand you may want to vet women, but it was like no woman. Like it was in the tone of like no woman is ever going to get to him, and that's what sometimes when we talk about our topic of like single moms, they feel like that.
There's three things off the bat that I think is wrong there. First of all, he's a grown man, professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do to his leadership ability on his team? You leading your team, and they watching your mom telling you,
and they see this publicly,
and you can say what you want to say, but you know the jokes and everything is
forthcoming. Like what?
Or the first time you have a disagreement with someone on the team, man, yo,
your mom.
And it's funny because it's every time I saw a picture of him, you know, with Washington, his mom was in the picture. I never really thought about like he was on the field everywhere. His mom was in the picture, you know, and she's a nice
I think
woman.
She's involved in the business part of it, but then I think that's
but now it's like she's the business of the bodyguard. And his mom's nice. Because first when I saw him, thinking that, you know, I thought it was just because his mom was a nice looking lady, you know, and so I'm thinking like, yo, somebody from the team. And then I turn around, his mom.
That's a good story.
The second thing is, you know, you can't. What, you gonna go on the road with him every game? I mean, you know, and then how is he ever gonna be happy? Because you know, I'm sure he wants to meet somebody too, you know, and so now, I'm sure he don't want to spend the rest of his life, you know, with his mom.
And like having to sit here, like, man, you just gonna be like this for anybody and everybody that comes this way.
I think the third thing is she like that in business? Because now what happens to his image? You know, because nobody want to deal with with the over anxious mom. You trying to do business and she she getting in the middle of everything. Because Allen Iverson, perfect example. Mom getting involved in everything and start, you know, that creates a problem. Because nobody wants a difficult. You know what I mean? You don't want to, you know, and he's a grown man too.
And it's the perception of it too.
Yeah, that was fun.
I think to even like not have the presence of mind or consciousness to be like, if you do feel some type of way about it, do that behind closed doors. You know, his cameras.
She just calls him or text him.
Like or something though, like yo, don't feel the need to now. You just come in here blatantly, just kind of.
But the face she made it work.
Super awkward.
The face she made because she looked like she was like upset. It's like, how dare you talk to somebody?
Every day, all looked awkward like that. Like it's just the body language.
It was like,
and it's funny because what's his name? Shannon Sharp came out and said like, oh, they might be cousins and But I was like, that did not look cousinly, unless Auntie came down and laid the hammer on y'all.
Shannon Sharp, but he's getting the plug because you know the way Wade is pushing a man purse. That's a whole different story. He got a product. It's funny because it was a chat room I was in, and it came up, and they were like, yeah, he pushed the man purse. So you know everybody goes. So anyway, I just a sidebar.
Wow. That is
because we care. It's like, but back then, I don't know. I think. And I've seen it, and I say this all the time. I've seen it in some of the parenting classes I do, and in father classes. Even when I sit down and counsel couples, you can see where a lot of men are traumatized or they're just spoiled because they used to mom, and they're in this relationship, or mom is still trying to be in a relationship. Mom is in the middle of everything that's going on, man.
The decisions and all of
guys
that.
have said my mom liked my wife when we were dating. Now we're married. It's a straight relationship. So you see it. It happens, and not always about money.
Yeah.
So I think what you see a lot of times is, I think you see a lot of guys, man, who not a lot, but you see guys who get in relationships, and they can't handle the relationship because they just been mamas. They've been a man this whole time for mom. And that's still that, when you get married, that's not supposed to be like that, but they still like that. And if you got a mom that's not letting go, that's every time something happens, that creates a problem.
That's your baby boy. And I think it happens, what's crazy, probably in some not just with single mothers, I feel like it's probably some moms that can be overbearing with their sons, period. But I think it does impact to have that same negative.
It happens a lot with single moms because a lot of single moms, I'm not saying they do it on purpose. Just when a boy is 5 years old, you tell him he's the man of the house. From 5 to you the little man of the house, you the little man of the house. And you just treat him that way. Like a lot of times I'll sit down with somebody that's 16 years old and they're giving their mom grief. That's because you gave him the keys to the kingdom when he was 6. So he think he the man of the house. So now all of a sudden he's 16 and you're trying to treat him like your son. You done gave him the keys to the kingdom. You done told him he's the man of the house and he got this, he got that, and all these different things. And I think that's what you got to be careful. I think that's what you got to be, and you extra careful because you can't give somebody power and just take it back.
So in the same context, what do you think happens when they like that's your friend? Like you just not even to the point where you look at him as the man of the house. Like that's almost like you.
I'll say it like this, and I say as parents, if your friend told you to give them your cell phone because you did something wrong, would you give it to them? No, that's your friend. Who you? Am I right? Yeah. Who you? You're my friend. What you? So I think, and you see it a lot in relationships, adult relationships. And men and women too, but in men because they carry those habits into the relationship. Mom called, they gotta go. Whatever happened, they gotta go. There's no communication, man. And if something happened to your mom, I get it, but not. Can you go get me a carton of milk? You know what I mean? Or this little stupid stuff but it happens. And you sit down, and you talk to couples. Mom is right in the middle of the relationship, and it was funny because when they were dating, it was cool, but when they got married. Mom now is in a relationship. Mom has a problem with her, and that becomes an issue. And a lot of times, some men choose their mom. I'm just saying, some men in that situation, it's
that's
not
a difficult predicament to be in. I would say.
Well, my mom and I was blessed to have a good mom and dad. My mom made me abundantly clear when I got married, man. What my first commitment was to. Now, it wasn't that my mom, especially when she was sick, I took care of her. My wife and I were in agreement, though. But even then, my mom was like, you can't be running down here all the time. So she was different, But I know when I sit down and I counsel couples or I talk to people, I can see, the influence of the mom. A couple will sit down and they'll discuss something. The mom gets involved and everything changes. And it happens on both sides. So I'm just saying we're talking about men, or now mom wants to have a relationship and she can't have a relationship because little Johnny think he run the house. I don't like him, mom.
What you doing in here?
Yeah, I don't like him, mom. Yeah. So it's just so many negative things that happen now. And that's not all single moms. That's why I paraphrase and I put the negative impact because there are some that's a negative impact. And I see it a lot. And I see it a lot in when I'm dealing with fatherhood or even parenting. Some women that say to me, like, yo, what do you do about this kind of, this guy whose mom is just telling me whatever she says is right and whatever I say is wrong.
I think even it goes probably further beyond that in regards to like mom physically being in a relationship. I think you mentioned it and said it a little bit too. It's just like kind of maybe even the emotional aspect of the impact that it has on these young boys that eventually are becoming men.
Especially when mom knows it. What's the movie, the Steve Harvey movie? And he had to put his mom in the place because his mom, I can't think of the name of it. Oh man. He had a movie and Kevin Hart was in it.
And think like a man, you do that?
Yeah, think like a man.
Sure.
Think like a man. And he met this girl, and he was, before that he was the mama's boy. His mom kept him in
Oh
the same
yeah,
exact
okay.
way, and she babied them and
I
treated
ain't
them
talking
everything. Man,
about
couldn't, he wasn't allowed to have girlfriends.
Terrence character.
Yeah, she took him through this whole thing, and then finally he had to step up and say, "Yo, I'm gonna marry her." But mom just couldn't. He was still, and he acted like it. It wasn't until she threatened to dump him that he had to grow up. So and I don't know if he didn't know it or not. I don't know how you don't know it, but she treated him like a baby. He acted like a baby.
I mean, but it's guys and people out here who don't know. They really don't know.
But he was to the extent that he
Movies
had
are
his,
extreme.
I know he was
extreme,
extreme, but he had his mom. He put his mom down as work. So whenever he called, he could see it was work, and he had to go. It was his mom.
You know what? Listen,
so I'm just
art
too much.
imitates life. I guarantee you,
Yeah,
somebody probably did that. They probably put their mom down.
Work.
Pizza Hut.
Gotta go with work.
Pizza Hut, call me again. Like, they probably
But he kept saying, "It's my job. I gotta go. It's my job. I gotta take this. I don't want to bore you with it." So he would walk in the other room and he was talking to his mom. And she'd be like, "Yo, I need you to come home now," and stuff like that. I gotta go with work. So how he got caught, he was outside playing with her son, and she picked up the phone, called herself doing him a favor because it kept ringing. And his mom was like, "Yo, what you doing answering his phone?" So he got busted. Yeah. So that's too much.
Listen, I think a movie is over exaggerated, but there are plenty of guys out here who are still like probably super dependent on their mom. It's the show White Lotus. The first season, it was a dude like that where he was on his honeymoon and he kept calling his mom. Like, he was rich, came from a rich family. He like, "Mom, this is wrong. Mom, this is wrong." To the point where his mom actually flew out and is on their honeymoon. But again, it's the extreme. But I think people actually really go through those things, and they don't even realize. Again, probably from a mother's standpoint, they don't realize how they coddle these boys, where they become like almost baby boys. Baby boy,
but you see it when you sit down and you talk to a couple and you engage in these conversations, and even they're referring to their mom all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes both ways. So right now we're just talking about guys, because I've sat down with women who refer to their mom too. So their mom run that too. So it's on both sides. It's not just.
But I think it's a little bit different though, like the impact that has on a boy becoming a man. Like I think it's a big difference, like where you have a boy that's kind of coddled like that, and when he has to go out and fend for himself in the world and like do things on his own.
But I agree. Statistics show every boy, is going to find some kind of man to affirm his manhood, unless something like that happens. And the same thing, every girl is going to look for some man to affirm what a man is. Now, there's exceptions, and when those exceptions happen, it's because moms become a little overbearing, or that's like your mom trying to teach you how to become a man. She can't.
And that's
she can teach you the kind of man she wants you to be.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. And I think that's the problem, because a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, you're trying to teach this boy to be the kind of man you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
Not what a man is. Is what you think a man
what a man actually is.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the same thing. Like I can never teach a girl how to be a woman.
You sure can. I say that all the time about Nicole. And that's why I believe two parents it takes two parents. But I do understand sometimes it's one parent. But that's why you have so many kids out here emulating rap stars and R&B stars and movie stars and athletes because of that. Because they're guys trying to find somebody to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
How can I connect with somebody? And it goes back to, like, I don't know where his dad is, but if you look at most pros, what do they say? I want to thank my mom.
All the time.
You hear it all the time, man. Dad could be sitting right there. He's sitting right there. I want to thank my mom. And my dad, like kind of like a sidebar thing. So moms have it, and they should. My mom had a tremendous amount of influence on me. My dad played a major role in who I am today. Yes. But also my mom was, I'm not going to say rare, I'm sure there was moms out there, because she didn't interfere in my relationship. But I know people, when I sit down and talk to them, guys where their mom in a relationship, their mom is still deep rooted in the relationship. And mom knows it. So she knows how to pull the strings. She knows how to, just kind of dig at the right time and just keep things going. And she does.
And I think this, not to like harp on and say it's a single mom thing. I think my mom does that. Like tries to, not that she wants to be in it, but she like certainly asks questions and has her opinion and things. And I think you're there to probably even like draw her back at times
Yeah.
from things that she probably wants to even dig or be more into.
Because there needs
That's
to be a
like,
line. There
you
can't.
see that?
You can't.
Yeah, you're there to draw that line.
But there needs to be a line because what happened? Okay, mom gets involved in a relationship. Mom is pulling the string. So the only one really happy is mom because mom is giving you everything she wants, but the young man is not because his wife is always on him because of what's going on with mom. She's not because of what's so you know what I mean the wrong person is being made happy in his relationship and it shouldn't be like that. I'm just saying it shouldn't be. Mom shouldn't be walking around smiling like for instance you trying to protect him. It'd be different if the popcorn lady came and sat down next to him at the game and was trying to talk to him.
Yeah.
Somebody 60 years old came and sat down. So you're talking about somebody who has a career, you know, who's already probably because he didn't make that money in college because it wasn't that big when he was in college. Getting paid, you know, which is probably making close to what he's making, you know. And she hasn't had the exposure that he's had yet. So she's
still gonna be in college another year.
When she comes to the NBA, she'll be the WNBA. She'll be the face of the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, why? Unless you know something about this girl we don't know.
I doubt that.
What I'm saying is not like she's a gold digger because he got his. You know, she has hers.
Yeah, that's what they say. She is a bucket. Like I enjoy watching her play, and just like the Keaton Clark hype that was out there, like she to me is on that type level of like, she could come in and really just be entertaining to watch.
It was funny because I was watching. I was watching Cam Newton, and he was talking about that, and you know. Cam Newton can be entertaining. Sometimes he crazy his days long, but he says something. He can be entertaining sometimes, man. He cracks me up by he's created this whole persona now. He's almost like the Dennis Rodman of football. He created this whole persona that's making him money. Yeah. He is. He's just making him money, being weird.
Yeah, making money.
He's making money being Dennis Rodman did it.
Yeah, definitely.
He wasn't making his money when he was just Cam Newton in the league. He wasn't.
Has pushed himself. I mean, he's probably always been a character. But I feel
not like this.
He's
flamboyant now. With
it's like blossomed into something else. Like,
but he says something, and we get back to the topic, and I think he's right. He says it's not a white-black thing. He just thinks Juju's a better athlete than Caitlin Clark.
She is.
So he said that's what's going to make her better because he can do more things with the basketball. Yes. He said what she's missing, and this is another show.
Range.
No, she doesn't have a nemesis. Like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese fed off each other.
I mean, she's just so much better than the other girl at.
But they fed off each other. Yeah, they fed off each other.
Not that she's not good, but she's better.
Back to what we're talking about, moms. You know, I think moms and they have to find the balance. The balance is, you know, how do I teach my son, you know, to be the best version of himself without making him too feminine. You know, without making him weak-minded. That he's not making his own decision because I've been making him for him this whole time. Or now he's going to look for someone else to do the same thing because I got to get somebody else is going to now tell me what to do.
Yes.
It's a balance. But you still want to have a caring, loving relationship, and I want that relationship. But some of it you got to let go. Because everybody has their own selves. If you have an identical twin, your DNA and your fingerprints would be different. But you also got to let people develop into who they are. And you can't do that if you're micromanaging every minute of his life.
Every minute.
And he's already under the spotlight because of football. Everywhere he goes on the football season, he got pressure because he's the savior now, the Commanders, and they're trying to make him the face of the league and all this stuff like that.
But then I guess even from the standpoint as a mother, it's like, man, at what point did you let him go? Let him
that's the man down question.
Be a man and let him do his thing and start making his own decisions. But you can still be there to be some type of like voice of reason, but
what we don't know is her history and it plays. We're all a sum total of our environment. We are. We don't know the history. We don't know what happened with his dad. We don't know. See, I'm not saying bad. Something could have happened with the dad that could have scarred her or caused her trauma that she's not going to let that with her son. It could be. I'm left here and I'm a single mom and I spend all my energy taking care of him. He's been my attention for the last 14, so I got to protect him. It could be, dad jetted on me I got to make sure he don't. You don't know what
Yes.
they're trying. You don't know, and I think that's where the stuff it gets mucky behind in the waters because you don't know what's generating this behavior.
But I think what's actually kind of funny here is like the idea of maybe she's coming from protecting him,
Yeah,
but ultimately like what happens is you end up pushing your child or somebody away in
because
that manner.
eventually even a
They
bear,
get tired
even
of
a
it.
bear pushes his cubs off to do something.
Yeah. And he at one time,
yeah.
especially in that moment, now
Yeah.
everybody talking about it. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm sure, like you said, people in the locker room
he'll
going
be
to say
keeping some
something.
secrets.
It's gonna be like, yo, it's gonna be
He'll have that girl phone number under work.
yeah, it's gonna be something that he has to address.
It's just somebody from the team calling.
The Commanders. The Commanders.
Yeah, it's a Commanders call.
The whole team.
He'll pick somebody on the team. Dude, call you a lot. Yeah, Mom, we just talking please.
Me in the center, Reed.
Yeah, but I think that happens more than we think it does.
I know it does.
It impacts a lot of relationships, and I think it's if you're that parent, you're that mom or that dad, you got to flip it and say, if you want your child to be really happy, is this going to help them be happy?
Yeah.
And you asked the interesting question: how's it preparing them for the long haul? Because what happens if, God forbid, something happens to her?
Later on in life, and he's just
like later on in life, say something. It can happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like, what do I do? Like, where do I start?
And how old is he? I'm sure he's had to have some girlfriends in college. I cannot believe that he hasn't. Unless she went to school with him.
They probably got a shared phone number.
What's she got a tracker? That ain't the dorm room. He ain't at practice. No, but so I'm saying he has to have some experience. But I do agree with you. Sometimes you can protect something so much that they can't get away. They can't wait to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other side of the coin.
And yeah.
But I look at it like I said. This guy's leading the football team.
He's already
the youngest guy on the team. He's already like a baby to most of the guys on the team. He's already getting more publicity than some of the guys who've been in the league forever.
And on that,
and they predicting all this for him. So now, how does that impact his leadership? Because your mom is jumping in there on national TV, it's going viral on national TV. And again, it wasn't like it was some floozy, somebody who just randomly stands and sit next to him or some random person. This is somebody making money with a future.
As an athlete and a competitor.
And in college.
And just knowing how people talk and get down on there in between the lines,
Especially the first time he irritates somebody. The first time it's going to come up. It's going to come up during the season. I guarantee you, somewhere during the season, it's going to pop up.
I know. I would
definitely. The first time they cut to the shot of his mom on the sideline, or if he and her having a conversation during the game or something like that, what's going to happen.
I'm like, yo, put her on the line.
She in the huddle.
He needs some protection. Put her on the
line. Who's really on that helmet, Mike? So I just, and I think I think we have to be careful. And I get it. You want to protect, but I think there's a line where you want to protect, but you don't want to be taking care of the person for the rest of their lives. And you want your kid to be happy. Yeah. And you want the kid to generally be happy in a relationship. And that means sometimes they're going to go through some bumps and bruises. That's how you never know how much you care about somebody, how much they care about you until you have difficult times. It's easy when everything is going well to say, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's during those tough times that you figure out what we got invested in this thing.
Yeah.
And even a dating stage, if she's doing that, he has no dating stage.
And you want to know what's crazy? Just again, you mentioned just being who he is and probably how difficult it probably is to find somebody where you have to like kind of be wary of like, yo, they into the money, they into the fame, but you have somebody who is pretty much young, got their own, like, and would be fine either way. How it goes, like. Clearly would be into him for him.
You don't read anything negative about her.
No.
Is all positive. Even the way she conducts herself on the court. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I don't know what mom was thinking, but somewhere along the line he gonna meet somebody. It could be in the lobby. It could be on the elevator.
It could be like Jay-Z and Beyonce. Man. The sports. You got to trip Michelle, the Obamas.
Yeah, but it could also be the opposite. He can get out there and get somebody to be taking it just for his money.
Exactly.
They get in it for 6 months and then they want to divorce him or they want to control him. And so, you got to be careful there. You got to be careful there.
You know what, though? It's probably, I would say probably for good women, that's a turn off to see that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
to
but
see that.
he make enough money to overcome that.
I don't know. Some women see that.
But for some,
So
some be like,
publicly.
yo,
I mean, but you know, the ones that probably is more into the money is the ones that'll be like, I could deal with mom. I'll figure that out.
Yeah, I'm about to get something like, man.
And try to separate them and like do what you got to do. Like, yeah, that's unfortunate, man. I was,
but I think
sad to see that.
Even without money, it happens. I'm telling you, I've sat down with couples and you talk to them, and the problem is because mom is involved in the relationship. You know, and it happens to females too. I know we're talking about guys, but I've sat down with females. Their mom is like directing traffic from behind the scenes.
But you know, it's funny. I think some guys or just people don't realize it until like you actually dealing with somebody, you know, and then you see like, man, how much that your parent may have had a hand in your decision making in life. And it's just like, whoa.
And I guess I'm like I am because it was different for me. My parents,
it's different for me too.
They never got
or like when they just
involved. They never got overly involved in my, in a relationship. Now, my dad thought I was seeing somebody seedy. He was like, yo,
yeah.
But he would also ask me like, how serious are you? Now, if I said I was, which I never said until I met your mom, and if he thought I was serious, he said, yo, dude, that ain't,
that ain't it.
But he would tell me like, yo, you got to dig a little deeper, man. He would say stuff like that. And my mom would be flat out. My mom said, yo, that's not the one. And she said, and my mom would say, y'all just going out having fun at school, but that's not the one. And she would say, she would use my whole name. She would say, I'm telling you, Christopher. Or she would use my middle name, Alexander. That's how I knew she was really getting the point across when she went to the middle name. But she would. But it was never to the point where she was like, you can't go out with her. I'm going to sit there and bolt the door. You can't go out. No, it wasn't
with any or every woman. It was like selective. Like she was reading people and giving people a chance.
But because of that, I also knew who to bring home, who not to bring home. And it was, I say this all the time. It's two kind of women. You date the kind of woman you want to date and hang out with, but when it's time to get married, that shifts.
But you know what?
It shifts.
I think what's key about what you even said is like having a chance or opportunity to find that type of woman that you should bring home. Because now it's like, how do you know if every woman to use a bad woman? So it's like, now I'm older and now it's like, okay, when it's time to pick the right one, anyone I bring up, you have this mindset, like you just don't like her. You just don't like her.
Because I think part of it now, and it's funny.
Which is kind of crazy.
I think as a society, it's funny because, Uncle Ed asked me this question about discipleship and about church, and I think it applies to life. We've done away with the relationship portion of things. We go right to the point. Like, for instance, in church is right. You got to come to church. You got to come to the building. It's not getting, dating you. And you talk about all the time. We got the criteria. We only try to get to know somebody. I'm not eating here. I'm not eating here. I'm not going here.
You're not 6 foot.
Or how much you make. The relationship portion is gone.
Yeah.
And I think so. You see a lot of them parenting too. They don't think, well, let me at least try to do some fishing to see how this person is. They go right to, I got my mama bear clubs on. I got my papa bear gloves on. I jump right in because we've kind of, I don't know why, but somewhere in society we've gone past, let me check this out. Let me spend a little time to investigate. And I think that's what's happening. We look at people, we'll make a decision. She's not the right one. He not, and you don't know. And like I said, I was telling Ed about church. Yeah, we do the same thing in church. We think we don't take time to get to know you and then show you what's in me. You got to come right away. We dig right in. So the whole relationship thing, society is gone, man.
That's actually kind of interesting to think about too, because I think that certainly happens. Well, in this instance, I'm sure the mom has these preconceived notions just about how women are, and they kind of just.
But see, it's funny because mom's light skinned. Maybe mom knows who. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. A lot of times we project our issues on somebody else. If I know the kind of person I was, I'm just saying. I'm not knocking you, mom.
Or people that you see some things and you just listen, be aware, ew.
But I also think and this goes back to what I said. I think you do proceed with caution. You should always proceed with caution. But that's why it's about, and y'all laugh and joke about it, but it's about dating somebody, actually building a relationship, getting to know them, asking the right questions, probing. So I wonder if she ever had that conversation with her son, what kind of girl you like. I wonder if she ever had that conversation with him, what kind of, not a girl, woman, because you grown woman.
Yeah.
Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? I mean, maybe he don't want to be single for he wants to enjoy this ride with somebody.
That's the whole thing now, though, too. Like, again, I was just mentioning in reference that, like, man, he not even having an opportunity to flex that muscle of just being like, all right, these the good ones, these the ones to stay away from. Like, every woman that you bring around,
But I
your
think
mom
like
is telling you.
I was watching Brandon Graham, his retirement speech, and it was funny because he married somebody from the 7th grade.
Mm.
They've been together since 7th grade, so he ain't flexed nothing. He got drafted, he got money, he had to grow up. So I'm just saying that everybody's a little different. So I don't know much.
Times is hard out here.
I do hear what you're saying, but I also know there's some people who don't, like. If it was me, I don't want to go through all that, man. I'm not going to settle. But if it was me, I'm like what you said earlier. I want to find somebody early who likes me for me, not for what I have. I don't want to be in the league for 5 years making all this money. Now I got to worry about,
I'm shooting commercials and people like, I seen you.
So I get it. And him, he's young enough where he needs to be. He wants to focus on the game. He wants to focus on the game. I know he don't want to be because he got a chance to be like a megastar. He got a chance to be, I'm not talking about talent-wise, but he got a chance to be the face of the NFL. He's in a great spot right now because one, he needs to send a thank you letter to Jalen Hurts. He needs to thank you letter to Jalen Hurts because he's the polar opposite of Jalen Hurts, and people are still bent on saying Jalen Hurts is not this, not that. So he's become the poster child. Now he got another thing because Russell Wilson just signed with the Giants, so now it's all black quarterbacks in the NFC East. So all this stuff is like falling right in place for him to be the man for a while. If he just does what he's supposed to do, stay out of trouble, man, he can be the man for a while. And they keep getting better. He can be the man for a while because he's good. He's good.
I know that
he's good.
But
everything is falling in place for him.
It is, and that's why
the chips are lined up for him. And mom gotta lighten up because, like I said, if I'm Nike,
I'll be like, go back. We trying to pick that up.
If I'm Nike, I don't want to argue with nobody's mom.
Nah.
I don't. In this day and age, man, I don't want to argue with somebody's mom, man. I don't. If your mom your business age, I don't have a problem. She got some input, but I ain't gonna talk to your business age. Then still got to get approved from your mom. It's not like you 16, 17. You a grown man now.
No women in that, please.
So I'm just saying. I think on the other side of the fence, I do get you want to protect your kid. You do. As a parent, it's unrealistic. You don't want to see your kid get sick. You don't want to see him get hurt. You don't want to see him go through no broken hearts. You don't. And I think some people take that and they just kind of
go OD.
Yeah, they do.
Too much.
They do. But I'm sure it's out of love. I'm
without a doubt.
I'm sure it's out of love, man. I don't think it's anything crazy like she thinks he's his man or something. I just think she realizes there's a lot of sharks out there.
Yes, and I don't think it's coming from a place that is like malicious. But
I'm just thinking if it was me and I'm sitting there, I'm not saying I want him to get married to her. But I'm not viewing her like I view everybody else. I'm saying, look, I'm gonna get to know her.
Give her a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to know her and see what she's about because it's not like she broke. She's just trying to get pregnant, trying to get some money. She's just trying. No, she got her.
Mm-hmm.
And she ain't trying to have no kid now because she's living her best life.
Even more of a bonus.
And he has a big contract now, but she's been making his money for a little bit now. So it's like. And it's like we talked about Sanders. When you come out of they coming out of college millionaires now.
Yes, they are.
It ain't like back in the day. You coming out. No,
staying in college.
Yeah, they keep
that money.
I stayed 4 years. Like Flag staying 4 years. Like I'm going back.
He knows the future. I don't know if he's not staying there 4 years.
You don't think he'll stay 4 years?
No, man.
If I'm in college right now, he's a little different. If I'm in college right now, only way I would come out if I had a tournament above tournaments and I knew I was going to be a top pick. But if I was still like back now and I'm making, he's
going to be a number one pick regardless. I just think it depends on the team. If the team really don't want to play there, then I will go back and get that money.
He did say he didn't want to play.
Right.
But I think as a whole, though, back to what we're saying, I think he had to have girlfriends in college. There's no way you kept. There's no way you kept him that shielded in college. There's no way.
He just played football, did homework, talked about him on FaceTime.
Yeah, but I'm knowing they're cheerleaders. There's women when you go to class.
Okay.
You come across women, man.
Yeah, he's seen talking to him. Mom probably talked to him in between classes. Who's that?
No, see, mom got to work and do stuff too. I don't know. I'm just saying. I just think, and I know
a teacher,
but there has to be a balance, man. Work, it's work, mom. The gym is calling you. Nah, but I just think it has to be balanced, man. And I think to me also with that balance is a sign of because I would take it as mom. At some point you got to respect me enough to trust me.
Yes.
Unless I have a track record of showing you that I can't be trusted, I make bad decisions. At some point, you trust me enough to sign this $1 million contract.
Go out here and ball and get it.
Yeah, I did everything. I stayed out of trouble. I went to school. I got my grades together.
Mhm.
I did, so you got to give me some grace here.
Yes.
And some way you got to let me become a man, and not, and I know that's hard. It's hard.
So publicly.
Yeah, see you. I mean, because to me. At first, I thought it was funny, and then I started hearing the comments about it, and then I started realizing, like, that's not. It's funny on the surface.
It is,
but I'm like, that could be trouble. Like somebody said this, and it made sense. First couple times I saw it, I was laughing, and then somebody said, "Well, it's not laughing matter because look at his face."
Yeah,
you could tell he was totally embarrassed.
Yeah.
And you could totally embarrassed, and look at her face; she didn't know what to do.
Right? Because
you was like, "Well, what did I do wrong?" Like, yeah, and they both were looking the opposite direction. So it was like, and then mom is sitting there like this.
And I think that's the part that, like, sometimes I'm like putting myself in that situation and just thinking to myself how frustrated I would be and annoyed. Like,
see, I would play it off.
Fortunately, my mom never would do anything.
I would have played it off because I would have asked. I would say, I would have.
I'm like, we're not moving, mom.
Because she would have had to say, "Excuse me," and then she just grabbed and moved them.
Like,
but I would have said, like, "Mom, it's okay."
She playing.
It's okay because now,
like that,
and I'm being how much respect. If I'm Juju, I don't know how much respect I got for him.
And now
he just got up and moved because his mom said move.
And I think that is like when we really talking about it, why it's so
Wayne, what's up, man?
Layered, and why it's such a problem to me, and why it happens so publicly bothers me. Is because it's like, again, looking at that from a perspective. I just mentioned other women looking at that. It's like, whoa, the fact that he actually.
Let me bring it up to speed.
Now he's sitting there pouting.
We're talking about single moms, how they make their boys their men, babies. And we're talking about particular Jaden Daniels and Juju from UCLA when the mom just burst USC. I'm sorry. They were talking and mom just like burst in between them, man. And she changed the dynamic of the whole conversation. So yeah, I mean, at some point you gotta let go. At some point you have to realize, man, and that my son is turning into a man. Like, what you gonna go every road game with him?
Yeah.
Every time they have a team function, you want to go? Yeah. So everybody's taking their wives and you going with your son. Come on, man. No, you got eventually the team, somebody gonna be like, look, I'm sorry, man. This ain't for you.
That's crazy. And plus one is always gonna be your mom.
The other players be like, yo, man, we trying to have fun, man. We ain't trying to have your mom up.
They're not even gonna ask you anymore if you bring anybody. It's gonna be you and your mom's plate.
Let's just send her an invitation. So I it's interesting, but I've sat down with couples and I've seen how moms have played a huge role in relationships because that dude was everything to her. He was the man. He was everything she needed. He did, no questions asked. And then instead of her saying, "Well, now he's married," she still act like the wife.
And that's actually kind of the whole next level of it too. Like, man, this is the quote unquote. Not even talking stage. This is the sourcing phase of it.
According to you, y'all don't date and talk anymore.
Sourcing, you just sourcing the field. But like, imagine when you actually talking and dating and like in the midst of oh my goodness, I couldn't even
were they still live
fathom?
Like, were they still live together? I mean, how much? I don't know.
If you were doing that,
how much get you? Yeah, you got a camera. You check the ring central. That's his house.
Somebody's over there.
Who's that? I'm just saying. So I mean, there's only so much control you can have. But at some point, again, and I'll say what I said before, that has to play on his leadership with his team. That has to play on leadership with his team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping and wishing for the best for him. I'm interested to see how things play out.
Wayne says that's who he trusts and wanted to be there with him. Are you talking about Juju or his mom? Wayne, because the way it went, he was sitting there talking to Juju. They showed all his pictures, man. They were laughing and joking, yucking it up. They cut to a commercial. When they came back from the commercial, mom had scooted in there, and she was like looking like Mama Bear. So I think he probably went to the game with his mom, but I'm pretty sure he was enjoying the conversation with Juju. I'm pretty sure he was like, yo, because the other thing about it, you mentioned it, she's probably closest to where he is. The people he meet, as far as, stature, public figure, making money, doing different things. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Ain't talking about his mom. Of course he trusts his mom. God rest her soul. I trust and love my mom too, but I want to be with my wife. At some point, you
gotta make a decision.
Yeah, at some point, man, like
yo,
mom, I love you, but we can't. This is not the same relationship.
Like, I love my mom too, and she definitely has, her way of making her input known. But there's certainly boundaries. I think that's actually kind of the funny thing. There is like it seems like it's no boundaries between her and him, like the mom, and between Jane Daniels. Like for her to be able to just come up and just sit in the middle like that, like that makes you think you would do that if like he's just talking if he's talking to a man, like you know what I mean? Like
it's not funny, but it's funny because
like,
I'm trying to think. Look, man, I'm a millionaire now. I'm a millionaire now. I'm about to be a billionaire. You know what I mean? I got the whole.
I'm trying to imagine
I got people. I got people trying to get.
Ladies,
I got people trying to come to my team now because they think I can lead them to win. Because that's what people are saying. He's a leader and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there watching it. It's like, wait a minute, his mom is running the show. Is this the guy I signed up to follow?
That's what I'm saying.
Is this the guy I signed up to lead me to a Super Bowl?
Too much material there to be like, man, they gonna have to rectify that in some type of way. Like, I don't know how you would.
But see, then and it's gonna make it tough on the date too, because there's some women like, man, like if you meet another famous person, do they really want to put up with that?
No.
Like now you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you gotta pass the mom lippy test.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
any other way you guess, now I know I gotta pass. Mom's gonna prove we can't be in this.
That's what I was saying earlier about eliminating some women just want to straight up be like, I'm not dealing with, especially a certain caliber of woman. She's not going to want to deal with that.
I just think it's hilarious. It's not like, funny, but it's funny.
She's not going to want to deal with that. Like seeing that her
stop laughing, man.
Like she could potentially have any man she want and have a mother that'll love and adore her. Like
I would know
Taylor Swift's mom type.
If I was 18 years old and I was sitting at my girlfriend on the Kelsey's, if I was 18 years old sitting in the step with my girlfriend, and my mom came out and sat between us, I don't know. I would be so embarrassed, man. I would be like, I would be in shock. I wouldn't know what to say.
But you know what?
I wouldn't know what to say. Like,
she had to make him get up. Somebody had to get up. Juju had to get up and move down the street. Or Jaden had to move.
It was him because the way they were sitting. If you look at the first picture,
so that's crazy.
It was a seat open on the end. He was a seat in.
How do you think that conversation went? She came back and was like, that's my seat.
See, my question is now that I'm thinking about it, maybe him and his mom, because Wayne got a point. Maybe he was sitting there with his mom, and she got up to go somewhere, and Juju came and sat down.
So,
but I'm just saying, though.
That makes it worse.
No, I'm just saying,
that makes it worse.
No, well, Wayne makes sense, though. Maybe he was sitting there with his mom. No, maybe his mom was sitting on the end, and he was sitting next to the end because he wanted his mom to be on the house.
The better seat is in the house. She could have sat in the house. She wanted to sit in the middle.
So maybe she got up to get some popcorn. I don't know. Go for the bathroom. And maybe she came back and was like, yo, who is chick talking to my son? Maybe she didn't know who it was.
Crazy. She ain't trying to find out, though, either. That's the crazy part. She never tried to find out who she was.
She had a mama bear. She had a mama bear cap.
She could have just let him do him. She could have just sat there and watched. And then afterwards, talk to him.
I'm not defending it, but we don't know what the backdrop is. Like I'm saying, the backdrop could be maybe she's come from a bad relationship. Maybe, I don't know.
Now you passing on this trauma to yourself.
But people
not right.
Hurt people, man. That's the big life roles. I'm not saying it's fair, but maybe she just had, maybe something happened between him and his dad, man, and she don't want the same thing to happen. I don't know. Maybe it was some heartache or something that she, because he never mentions his dad, so I don't know.
She played for USC? I don't think so.
Well, he knows maybe she didn't know that. Maybe she didn't recognize who she was.
Give him a chance. Let her figure it out. Don't do that.
So she probably said, "Well, son, she probably said, son, I think you can see the game better from this seat."
Yeah, all right. He was hurt.
He was hurt.
To see how he had to sit there.
Well, it was on national TV, Chris. Come on, man. You'd be embarrassed too. You would be like, "Yo, mom, everybody in the country seeing this."
I would be so mad with Mom. You gotta go home. We're not going to no more games together. Like,
well, I don't think that's gonna happen. They'd be sitting in the box somewhere. I don't think they'd be sitting in the general population anymore.
I'm on the sidelines. You can sit in the box. Like, we're gonna have to separate and watch this. Put your binoculars on if you want to see what's going on here.
She protected his fortune.
to
The family fortune.
But again, I think
But
like
Daniel's kingdom needs to be.
it's a balance to it though. Like you still gotta let him.
I'm laughing, but I agree. I do agree with everything you said.
Yeah,
I do. I agree with you, man.
She got his back no matter what. Maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, but it's still the way you handle it, Wayne. Come
It's the
on,
way
man.
you handle
You a
it.
grown man. It's national TV, and you know you sitting there yucking up. You know everybody's watching you, and then they come back from the camera. You over there looking this way. The girl you talking to looking that way. So mom said something because they weren't even looking at each other when mom came back. She said something because they weren't even looking at each other. When you would thought they never talked to each other the whole time they were there. And then mom was sitting there like she was pissed off.
Yeah, like
mom
in
was
the middle,
yeah, like how dare you?
final
Yeah,
boss.
like, come on. You know, if mom could at least been smiling, like, okay, I just.
I think it's the optics of it too, like just the position
Yeah,
that they in. Like you know,
I
like you should know and understand. Like man, people watching, the cameras on you. Like
so I'm trying to think back growing up. You know, was every relationship that my parents didn't that they because I had a few they frowned upon. You know that they just
she don't like her. I mean,
you're right. That's what we
thought.
We try to figure out why though, because the girl got money, the girl got looks, she got everything. You know, she's at the height of college basketball. She didn't pay. So I do agree. You know, but the question we were asking, Wayne, is it her or is it all women? You know, like nobody's like, good enough for her son.
And her mom did an interview before saying that no woman is good enough, pretty much. So then it's like, at what point are you gonna let him? Yeah, like
she not
have the space to find somebody, and that's as good a candidate as any. I would think Juju Watkins, like,
and I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. I can tell you what's gonna happen because I can see people on the team.
The next LeBron James.
I can see people on the team trying to set him up just so they can watch. Just so they can watch, man. Oh, I got this, my cousin. I got this girl, just so they can watch, man.
Yeah.
Or more girls will come at them because they know he unattached. They know Mama Bear been watching it, man, so he fair game. So the first time
it's funny, we got a comment that I agree with. It's all women. It don't matter who it is.
It's all women.
Any woman. It could be any woman.
I gotta stop laughing. It's just funny because I keep visualizing it, and and when the camera came, it was almost like it was a movie because they showed it. It went to that commercial, and when they came back, Mom was sitting there like this, and they were both sitting looking the opposite direction. Gary says all women.
I agree.
So okay, Gary, I got a question. At what point though, do you want to be single, a hermit the rest of his life?
But I think I'm sure he don't want to be like that the rest of his life.
But it
almost looks like it's not his choice. It's not his choice.
So like I said, but you got to go in every road game with him. That means everything he does, you got to be there. Everything he does, you got to be on guard.
And I think, like I said earlier, like I think that almost pushes you to almost find the wrong woman, just because your mom don't like any woman at all.
That's right, Garrett. You gotta let him go, man.
Your mom really
at least put him on a leash.
But think about it. Your mom doesn't like any woman at all, so you probably just assume that she has that lens on when you bring any girl around. So she could realistically be a terrible woman, and you just think, oh, my mom, she just being her. Or she could be a good woman, and my mom just being her.
I just know being if I was in that environment, you know, and especially a younger me, and I knew that, and I'd be introducing them to people, because you want to watch the fireworks. You want to say, okay, so what mom gonna do now? You find the busty cheerleader, like, yo, go talk to him, and you just sit back, and everybody sit back and just be cracking up. You know, they just be laughing.
This is jaded.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to how does that impact his leadership? And I would love for Gary to exact that. His leadership. You're supposed to be the leader of the football team. What your mom was telling you what to do.
You want to know what's crazy is, so I was watching this special ops show, a little bit of it. Cam Newton was in there. Golden Tate was in there, and Golden Tate was talking about how, like right now he's in this place where he don't feel like he can like kind of lead or just be. He's trying to find himself outside of football, because in football he used to be in this guy, and now he come home and his wife runs everything. Like she tell him what to do, and he just is like he like lost a little bit. He can't figure it out, and you seeing it happen play out in real time on this show where they putting him in task, and he just don't know what to do. Like he knows what to do, but he just can't even get it out and say it. because he just is like handicapped. And I think about like how.
Well, first of all, blame him because you're not putting me on TV.
He's saying it though.
Yo, if I know it's about you, not put me on TV, man. I'm sorry.
Listen, but that reminds me of Jaden Daniels a little bit. You have this person in your life that's just micromanaging all these parts, and then when you have to go out here and try to figure it out by yourself, you self-destruct.
Wayne says it's the money thing. Gary says exactly. So yeah, she is overprotective, and that, as a mom, I get that. But at some point, something in your head has to kick in, and is he happy?
She don't care. She happy.
Yeah, but I said that earlier. She don't even happy. She don't even happy because he can't be. Because and we got to be honest. Part of enjoying fame is the popularity.
That's actually a good point to make too. She don't care if she.
But being part of enjoying fame is the popularity. Is going places that people know you. He's young, man. People recognize him. He Peter toast of the town in Washington right now. Mm-hmm. It's funny because I was down there for the summit. I never seen so many Commander shirts, man. They got pride in their football team now. Digging down. I mean, because usually you go through DC, you don't see a lot of shirts, man. You got to go back to the Redskins days. So he's and they tell you, I was talking to one guy, yeah, man, he's bringing the franchise back now. We really, so he's enjoying the popularity like he's never had before.
Two things is it's no different than our sons, the way we do it.
Oh, it's a big difference.
I think it's different.
My son's sitting right here.
She's protected her investment, future earnings. Yes,
future. For sure. Okay, but Gary, Juju got money. Juju got money, man. It's not like
that's potential to split that. That means she's gonna have to split it.
It's not like the 12th person on the bench.
It's going somewhere else.
Somebody you don't know. This Juju got money, man. And Juju has it. She's going to be in the WNBA unless something crazy happens.
A difference there. That's Juju money. That ain't going to Mama Daniels. Like, and then some of
I don't think it's about money. I don't think it's about
money. Daniels money.
I don't think it's
going to go to Juju.
I don't think it's about money. I think
a little bit of that is there. I do think a little bit is there.
I think mom is just trying to be taken care of. I think mom realizes that she's
going to be taken care of.
And I guess in her mind, her son can be a little bit of a guppy sometimes, man. And I guess she figured he can't protect himself.
She raised him that way. He raised him to be a guppy. Like just kind of being around and overprotecting.
Money.
Just being a shark floating around, killing everything.
But this goes into our conversation how sometimes single moms ruin their sons. Because you don't raise them to be a shark. You raise them to be a guppy. The problem with it is you put a guppy out there in a world full of sharks, and now you're wondering why, now you worried that he can't survive. Well, you made him like that.
That was the perfect analogy.
You made him like that. You did. You made
to sum up what he kind of looks like and comes off across and what she potentially has raised and put out in the world.
You got to be confident in who you raised
and let him be.
Yeah. Hey, sidebar, Gary, we got to connect, man. Hey, Gary's son is a comedian.
Oh, let's get it.
His son is a comedian, man. So we got to connect, Gary, because Chris is an aspiring comedian too.
Do some writing too.
Yeah, he got some connects, man, shows and stuff, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah.
Thursdays, open mic, Crafty Crab, 7:00.
Yeah.
See us.
Yeah, because I see Gary's posts, man. Gary and I go way back. We used to play ball together when we were younger, man. Gary, too smooth sharp. But anyway. Yeah, but it's just, I don't know. And the thing, I go back to what I was saying. When I sit down and I'm talking to couples, I hear that so often where mom is playing a major role in a relationship and she shouldn't. She shouldn't. He got to check with mom. Mom.
That's a little bit on the man, though, to step up at some point in time and just be like,
but if you don't know how, and a lot of them don't know how because they were never raised to say no.
Yeah.
He said he go back to bucket seats.
Bucket seats.
Yeah, they don't know how to say no because I'm sitting down, I'm talking to them, and first of all, they don't recognize it. No matter how often the wife brings it up, they don't recognize it. And then we'll get into the discussion about. And I'll ask them a couple questions.
Planet of the Apes, like when Caesar finally could say no, it's just like with everything that he had.
Something is stupid when it comes to women. Yeah, and then we'll talk about it, and then the real angst comes down to mom is driving this dissension because she's playing him. She's playing him like a game. I raised you better than that. You don't have to take that. Stuff, little things that they could work out amongst themselves. She's in the background because she's trying. You always got a place to come back to. You don't have to say. It was a couple I was working with, or lady I was working with. Lady I was working with last year. True story. She's not watching this. I say it every week, but I know she ain't.
You always say.
So I can tell the story.
We get one new viewer every week.
They ain't watching. So anyway, but that was a problem because they had this relationship. They moved here. Mom didn't want to move here from. I'm not gonna say the state they moved there from, but they did. And mom just kept playing them. She would, I'm not feeling well, I need you to come home kind of thing. And he would go home. So he would start, first it started weekend, then it was a week, and he started missing time from work. And then it was like, well, you're better off here anyway because she's not doing this like I do it. And so they ended up getting a divorce because she was like, yo, I can't keep taking this.
It
happens, man.
Wow.
It happens. I'm just telling you, it happens more than you think, man.
And I can't even fathom. My mind can't comprehend.
Like you can thank me, man. How I run interference with you, bro.
Listen, I know and understand the importance of
I'm taking it back because you probably watching this.
Father to be there and be like, yo.
But and as we close, it's a balance that we have to have, and I think it's up to and I don't know where his father is. Though, see, I said that because you never see his father. Mm-hmm. Somebody has to be the balance. Okay, I need you to just take it back a little bit, man. Take it back a little bit, man. Like you don't embarrass your son on national TV. That's a conversation you have later. You don't do it on national TV, man. You just don't do that, man. Especially he's still working on his image, man, and he's trying to get himself together. I think you got to be very cool with that, man. Yeah. All right, that's it. Time is out, man. Yo, Gary, got to get you on the show, man. But I'm definitely going to reach out to you and connect y'all so y'all can talk because
I love that.
Tell them your thing on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. I'm Crafty Crafts, Abington. 7 o'clock open mic portion from 7 to 8 and then 8 to 9. Yeah. We have some more probably I would say veteran established comedians that come through it. It's always a great time. I feel like shows generally are packed. It's free, open to any and everybody. Whether you just want to come through and watch comedy or you want to give it a try and get on stage yourself, man. I think it's a great place. Come on out.
And once a month you're at the Royale.
Yeah, once a month at the Royale, Glenside. Me personally, I'm starting to try to broaden my reach and get out here a little bit, different open mics and spaces. So be on the lookout for that. But appreciate it.
So we got to connect, y'all. We can go hang out together, man. Maybe your son come down and do a set. We can go laugh together, man.
Get together. Appreciate you guys, man.
I try to tell him about how we used to play ball, but he don't get it, man.
Listen, I'm still out here getting it.
You don't get it, man. But yo, see you guys next week, same time.
Yes,
same channel, man. Gary Wayne, we appreciate you guys. And all other listeners out there, the text messages I've been getting, all kind of stuff, man. We appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like us.
Yes, follow, subscribe, comment, share. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Enjoy the rest
of the
day. Until next time.
We will see you guys later, man.
Yes. Peace out.